Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome from Canada. The circuit to Gilles Villeneuve for round 4 of the Apex Racing Academy Formula 4 Championship. Well, I can tell you, after a dramatic start to the season, keeping North America as we have done for 3 of the opening 4 rounds before we return to Europe in a couple of weeks' time for Barcelona. Wow, I'm Tim Cox with Aaron Smith and Samula Kuma in the virtual production trailer. Get ready, folks, because we are in for an epic night of racing. This iconic circuit, of course, you know, famed for the Wall of Champions, but it invokes both street circuit vibes as well as race circuit, and a real challenge for the drivers and cars alike. Aaron, welcome along. I think I've only just about got over the events of last week at Virginia International Raceway, and that finish.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the most crazy finishes to a race I've seen in a long time. Very controversial as well, and understandably, of course, I think some of the drivers were very frustrated after the race. But yeah, this track hopefully shouldn't be as chaotic. It is a little bit harder to follow other cars around here, but I think we're going to see a few sends maybe into that last chicane and maybe into the hairpin, but I cannot wait for this race. I love this track.
It's definitely going to be interesting. We've got qualifying just getting underway right now, and we get to find out who is going to claim the pole position. But let's take a little look at the championship standings. Just refresh our memory, see exactly where we're at. And that's for Pro. Aidan Young leading the way, looking to carry on the momentum from last night in this event in the Renault Clear Cup. Lert Schnabel in second, only 4 points behind. Then there's already a bit of a gap emerging between the top 2 and Zambra, currently in third as he finds himself 16 points adrift. With a further 8 points adrift of Zambra is Bergson with Kaibach, Zwemstra, Amor Kelleher, Bell, and Keynes Presley rounding out your top 10. Across into AMS, there's Garrett Spence and Asker Lauritsen. We're really starting to form that breakaway group like we're seeing in Pro. The top 2 starting to move away right now. It's on by Knott. He's currently in third. And then a big gap emerged between himself and Kirk in fourth. Walsh, Tough, Russell, Clist, Arroyo, and Wilkinson rounding out your top 10 for there. But I tell you, first lap's starting to be completed. Zambra after that, well, crazy turn of events where he had to do it the hard way after an incident in his heat last time out of Virginia. Had to go through the consolation, coming onto the final lap, 4th, and then due to the top 3 taking each other out, ended up clinching the victory in spectacular circumstances. Can he make it? 2 wins on the bounce. Remains to see what the Swiss driver can achieve. Kelleher in second, only just though 200ths of a second behind him. And then it gets really tight between Schnabel, Young, Strauss, Johansson, Kaibach. Well, I mean, pretty much all the way back to, I mean, there's only a 10 separating all the way down to Poggy currently in 15th, Aaron.
Yeah, I think it's fairly close around here. It is a shorter layout compared to some of the other tracks that we've run this season, but yeah, Canada's a fairly complex track, especially with that middle sector being nice and compact, and not a lot of margin for error around here, as I've discovered a few times over my few years on iRacing. But honestly, I think this AM Championship is spicing up to be really, really interesting, because you have some drivers like Perrin Smith, who we know is putting some impressive lap times during qualifying, but just hasn't managed to put it in during the races. Lauritsen goes up to 7th. Very good lap by him, only 6/10 off of Zambra so far. But yeah, I think this AM Championship today is going to possibly show us where everyone might end up at the end of the season. But Spence has been really impressive this season, just been really consistent, and I'm impressed with him so far.
Yeah, it's definitely been one to watch out for, hasn't he, Gareth Spence? And so now can he continue in that rich vein of form? Sees him top of the AM standings. Let's take you through the proceedings for this evening. 2 heat races, obviously qualifying denoting where they're going to start within those, with the drivers finishing in the odd positions in qualifying. They go to heat 1, the drivers in even, they'll head into heat 2. With the top 8 from each of those heats heading straight into the final. Everyone else heading into the B final, or the consolation races as also known. I believe it's 4 drivers will head across into there and head out on the track for our final. As the races get longer throughout the evening, the heat's 10 minutes, the consolation 14, and the final 18 minutes. Now, a few drivers serving qualifying bans. There's 4 of them, in fact. Dan Amor, Dorian Arroyo, Oscar Sale, and Isaac Phelps. Of which, can't see Phelps out on track, so I don't think we've got him with us this evening. Likewise, Sale, so deciding to drop those. And, well, it's Amor and Arroyo who'll be starting from the back in their respective heats. Doesn't carry across into any of the further races this evening. As well, it's tight at the top, isn't it? Zambra and Kelleher definitely looking strong for their pole positions in their respective heats right now, 1st and 2nd in qualifying. Bergson and Young incredibly close between those 2, and the times are just getting faster and faster, aren't they, right now? See James Bell having a bit of a wiggle there. Oh no, he lost the rear on the end, on the braking, and I thought, oh no, maybe he saved it, but no, he finds the wall of champions. There's going to be a few drivers that find that, but for me, Aaron, it's turns 3 and 4 that actually, in my opinion, are actually more dangerous than the wall of champions, who's riding on board right now with Lennart Schnabel of Alcantech, and I'll explain why. So, it's all nice and wide. It's not too bad, this part of the circuit, but as you enter into 3, it really, really tightens up, and you have to clip the curb to take, go on pace through there. And that wall comes out to be really tight, and also the track's a lot narrower there compared to the start-finish straight where the Wall of Champions is. And that's why I always think it's more of a danger point compared to that final chicane.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to agree with you, as the way you launch yourself off of the final curb around the final corner, you're sort of, you have confidence in the car that you're not going to hit the wall. The only time that you might is if you take way too much curb. But yeah, I'm going to agree with you. That chicane in turns 3 and 4, it is really dangerous, as like you get so close to that wall on a push lap like this, and if you are a touch wide, your rear suspension is gone. It is deleted. As Kelleher on this lap, though, seems to have got it nice and hooked up. He goes 2 tenths ahead of anyone else. He's looking to bounce back after not having the best of weeks last week. As we come through turn 3 and 4 now, we'll see if he can navigate this section well. But I don't think he's going to be able to get another lap in. This is what I mean. Look, he scraped that wall. And yeah, that is a good shout.
And also, the more crucial part of it as well is, wow, that's about if clipping the wall definitely invalidated this time for Kelleher, and well, losing like that, that lap definitely in the bin. He's not going to get another one in either. Currently sitting in provisional pole, but yeah, someone hits the wall, I gets it really wrong, comes back across the track. It's so easy for the truck to get blocked on that exit at turn 4, and it just adds to why it's so much more dangerous potentially, especially at the start of the race compared to the wall of champions. Just seeing Zyro Sambra just going to come up close and personal, getting very loose and Larry there on the exit of the chicane. Where is he going to go? He faster in the first and second sector, personal best, but not good enough overall. Just that mistake there into the final chicane. That's what's cost him. And well, as always, the hard and fast close to qualifying. Now we get ready for the first heat of this evening. Kelleher, he starts on pole with Theodore Bergson alongside him. Kumala, he has Kai back for company with Johansson lining up alongside Presley on row 3. Struys and Caponio, they're on row 4 with Tom Not joined by Joel Hull. Not being the top AM qualifier, and that's going to round out your top 10. Row 6 is Chris Kirk and Philip Russell with Paul Joseph Gliss. Dorian Rose starting from the back, of course, serving that qualifying ban. Well, the only way is up, as they say, Dorian. The only way is up. What can you achieve? These drivers just take to the grid. I mean, Kelleher, surely. Good start here, Aaron. Pull away and just keep out of everyone's business and just head off in the distance, play it safe, surely.
Yeah, I think we need to see more of a safe approach from some of these drivers. As last week, as we saw, they're just not careful enough. They're just taking too many risks, and we saw so many crashes. I think it was also in Heat 2 and of course the feature, where people were just being a little bit too aggressive, and just need to think ahead in this championship. It's a long way to go, and some of these guys are fighting like it's the last race of the season.
Definitely, it's been intriguing, and a few of them, sometimes with the heats, especially in the early stages, it's just about playing the numbers game, just getting yourself into the final, because absolutely anything can happen. Whereas we've seen, people battling, falling off the track, and then not having to go through the consolation, and then even then, not quite making it. As Kelleher, the last car onto the track, he has made it, as everyone has gridded up now. So here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing for the first time this evening. Round 4, the Apex Racing Academy F4 Championship, as we are green and we are away. And wow, a great start from Kelleher there. No messing around, was clearly listening in. And he just dominates through turns 1 and 2. But they're side by side for second. Kamala and Bergerson getting really, really close together, almost touching wheels. Kaibak now getting into the fight. As we come down towards turn 3, where they sort themselves out, they all filter into one single file line. But in the background there, they're side by side in the battle for, well, the best of the rest. Johansson, Stroyce, Presley and Cavonio there, all 2 by 2 pretty much to come through into 5. A bit of a lock up there from Caponio, but gets away with it. Looks like we're all going to, well, they're all going to make it through, as Joe Holm now makes it too wide. And is he going to get away with this? Is he going to be out of place? He's going to head up. Kirk in a bit of trouble. We're right on board with Chris Kirk. They all zip in together. That big curve on the exit, on the entrance. You really do not want to clip that. As we head underneath the various pedestrian bridges down to the hairpin. Are we going to see any big moves? We look back from Kirk. He's under a bit of an attack and a beautiful move up the inside. That's Philip Russell just slotting his car down the inside. But Aaron, it's all about that exit off the hairpin. And he could end up as much as you get ahead because of the slipstream. Because these F4s love the slipstream. Well, end up losing that place too.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed about this car as well when it first came out is it's so hard to get a switchback, but Chris Kirk is still gonna edge ahead as we go into this last chicane. Good overtaking from him. He moves up into 11th place. Russell just has to sit back in 12th. But yeah, that start from Kelleher was something else. He nailed that start, let go of the clutch exactly as he wanted to. And also Kamala also getting a really good jump to move himself up into 2nd place. And I think Kelleher at the moment has this under control, but of course it's not over yet. Still got another 8 minutes to go.
Oh, so plenty of action, plenty of racing still to come. Kelleher leads by half a second over Kamala, who's managed to jump a pace ahead of Bergerson. That's well, it's a battle for the podium, but it's pretty much all about getting through. Of course, as mentioned earlier, top 8 head through. Currently Presley in the last of the places, and Dennis Presley opening up a bit of a gap over Tom by not. At present, no AMs will be making it through. In terms of the pros, it will be Joel Hull, who will be missing out. He'll start near the front of the grid for the consolation if things remain. Oh, that's a slowdown, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely been off somewhere. It's going to be close into this hairpin. He gets so close to Minot. And yeah, Minot as well has had a pretty good start to this race. He's up 1 position, the lowly Am. He's at the moment into the feature race. But yeah, Johansson must have gone off the track somewhere. But all these guys banging wheels as we go down the back straight. They're not leaving each other any room at all. Presley on the right, giving it everything. Caponio just behind him. And that is a good overtake from Presley into that last chicane. It takes so many balls to do that into that last chicane, but he got it done. He's up into 6th, and a good racing from them too.
Hansen in a bit of trouble now. Obviously that slowdown costing him dearly. He's dropped all the way back down to 9th. Well, in fact, he did drop back down to 10th. He did squeeze his way back past Joel Holt to get himself up in 9th. Lucky for him that Minot is only just about in front of him, and that is the last position. Oh, there's someone whacking the wall there on the exit of 4. Had a great big thud as up the inside goes Presley and Caponio, but Caponio is going to get the cut back, but no, they make contact. Oh, wow, that's race ending for the both of them.
Yeah, that is a huge crash from these two. I was just saying how they were racing cleanly, and yeah, that's really unfortunate. And it's such a shame. This is what we're saying. It's a heat race. They just need to take it a little bit more cautiously. I'm not saying don't go for any overtakes, but just be a little bit more careful. Leave that guy a little bit more room than you otherwise would in, say, the feature race. But, you know, I guess every point matters to some of these guys, but they just need to calm down a little bit. But Minot has benefited from that massively. He's now up into 6th, and the Am driver having an absolute field day.
He is indeed. That means Johansson's promoted back into the... Well, pretty much where he started before he started to serve that slowdown. And Minot now, well, getting overtaken by here. Hansen trying to play it safe and as far into that top 8 as possible. As meanwhile, up front, a change for the lead. Kamala has managed to get his way past Kelleher. Just trying to instantly fight back right on the gearbox of the Finnish driver. Don't discredit Bergson. Swede is looming large, just waiting to mop up any spills as they skim the wall on the exit of 4 there. A race down towards 5, under the bridge, onto the brakes. And it's still as close as you like, under half a second, separating our top 3. And wow, they are really clear of 4th Kai back. He's somewhat 2 seconds down the road from these guys, nearly 2.3. There's now only 3 turns separating them. They come onto the brakes, and it's amazing how Kelleher is following within 2 tenths. It's yo-yoing between a 10th and 2 tenths between the pair of them.
Yeah, it is so close between these guys right now, and they are setting the precedent for the rest of the field. Bergerson's going to be optimistic. He's going to go for a move for 2nd place on Kamala. Very, very good decision-making by Bergerson there, but now it's going to be the fight for the slipstream, and I think Kelleher is going to try and play it smart here, try and balance the slipstream between these 2 drivers, and he's doing that at the moment as they battle for 2nd place. And this is going to be all about mind games in this heat, but Kamala is... Ooh, I thought he was going to go for a move around the outside into that last chicane, but just managed to back out of it, and they all come across the line in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, as you're seeing. Kelleher, Kamala, and Bergerson. This is going to be an amazing battle to the end, and Kamala still trying to find his way past.
so close between our top three. The only thing I need to be caution of is just how much they fight with one another. But this is how Kamala managed to get past Kelleher. So we're going to see down into turn 1 in the slipstream, pulls out, slingshots his way past. Look, he's already pretty much back onto the racing line before they've even reached the braking zone, Aaron.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want to do when you're overtaking like that down a straight. You want to get back onto that racing line. It is very risky, as if the driver behind isn't, you know, fully on his wits, he might run into the back of you. But if you can get it done cleanly, it's the ideal way to get an overtake. And you're basically got maximum track position. But also, little mention to Kirk as well, another amateur driver at the moment in that top 8, getting through into the feature. And these AM drivers putting in some good little performances. I'm really impressed with some of them at the moment. And Minot seems to be playing the smart game, just sitting back on Johansson. And when Johansson overtook him, he didn't look like he was fighting him very hard. And I think Minot at the moment has just got that championship on his mind and wants to get back into the fight.
So the advantage that these guys do have is that now they've got about, what, some 1.4 seconds back to Kirk, who's in 8th, and then Russell, well, he's about 5 seconds down the road from these guys. So, you know, there's no rush to try and get some moves, get ahead, get up the road, because you've got that nice time buffer. You don't have to push the car. You don't have to skim and get as close as you possibly dare to the wall each and every time on the exit of, well, the Wall of Champions and 4 as well. So it's one of those things where it just definitely play into your hands as the Russell just heading through there. And, well, as he saved it. Overshot that one a little bit.
Yeah, he just went into that last corner just way too deep. Took a little bit too much speed. But, yeah, Hull, I know he's a pro, and there you go, into turn 3 and 4. Absolutely messed that one up, bashes the wall. He looks to have gotten away without any damage, though, but Hull at the moment not having the best of races, down in 10th. But still where he started. But this battle for the lead still going on, although I think Kelleher is just starting to maybe pull away a little bit from Kamala and Bergerson. I think now the main battle is going to be for second place. As you can see, the amount of weaving going on. Kelleher's doing everything he can to try and break the toe. And Bergerson is just gaining ever so slightly. I wonder if Bergerson is going to try and go for a move into the chicane, or is he going to wait for turn 1? I think he's sitting back now. Smart thing to do. This last chicane is not the best overtaking opportunity, but he needs to get a good exit. Oh, Kelleher, yeah, made a massive mistake, and they're going to go 3 wide down this straight. Kelleher then, I'm not sure what happened to him. He was just off screen. But now this is the big fight for the lead. Bergerson is now ahead of Kamala into turn 1. I believe this is the last lap as well.
It is indeed well spotted. I mean, it flies by in these heats. It's all or nothing now. Well, they mount an attack. Kelleher, what damage is he carrying? The steering wheel looks pretty straight, so no steering damage. That's going to really help him. Onto the brakes they come. It's one of the many chicanes here at Montreal. It's advantage Bergson. He is in front, but Kamala is going to have the slipstream. Likewise as Kelleher, all the way down to the final chicane. Go up the fin, has a bit of a look. Forces Bergson defensive, and he makes a mistake. He gets squirrely. Oh, Kelleher into the back of Bergson. They both get away with it, and now it's advantage Kamala.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge. Kamala now has a big gap to play with. 4/10 in these cars is huge, and Kelleher's going to try and go for a move into the hairpin on Bergerson. Good on the brakes and good on Bergerson, leaving him room, but that's rather ruined their chances of winning this race. I think Kamala has actually got that gap, and look how close Kaibak is now. He's not that far off, so if any of these guys make any mistakes, you never know, Kaibak might be able to pass them. But we're going to come up to the final few corners. It's going to be so close for second place. Kelleher and Bergerson going side by side. I think there's... Oh! Bergerson jumps over the curb, and look at Kaibak. He's coming round the final corner and overtakes Bergerson to make it into third. But it's Kamala who takes victory in this heat. And that was an incredible final lap. And they all managed to come across the line cleanly somehow. And this is Johansson and Minot coming over the line. Minot makes it into the heat. the feature. My apologies, and so does Kirk. That was an incredible ending to Heat 1.
Bad indeed, was it? Not bad indeed. So Kalmala, Kelleher, Kybach, Bergson, Strauss, Johansson, Minot, and Kirk all head through into the final. All the other drivers, they'll have to do the hard way through the consolation. It always comes thick and fast here for you. I was waiting the last couple of drivers come across the line, which is Caponio and Clist, hence why I'm not heading straight across. There is the Italian across the line. Now just waiting on Clist. He's just coming through the final chicane, so he won't be far across. There you go. With all the drivers across the line, we can now head across into our second heat of the evening. Let's take you through your grid. Zambra starts on pole with the American Aiden Young alongside him on the front row. New to the series, Tom Poggi, the ARM driver, on the second row of the grid. Interesting to see how the young Frenchman gets on with James Bell joining him on the second row. Schnabel's going to have Swenstrup for company on the third row with Aske Lauritsen and Archie Heron on the fourth row of the grid. Wilson, he's got another newcomer to the championship to round out the top 10, Lawrence Balkan, with Spence and Walsh on row 6, and a more, of course, serving that qualifying ban. He starts from P13 with Nick Polliard alongside him on the final row of the grid. The Hickman lights. Let's get ready to go racing from our second heat. Who's going to make it through? Who's going to end up in disappointment? As we are green and we are away. And look at the start from Schnabel, just instantly pulling out there. Well, I don't think it was the best of starts from Poggi. No, it wasn't. And after that great qualifying, starting from the second row, he's all the way down to the back. But off the track goes Aiden Young, and it causes everyone to check up. And all of a sudden, it flips on its head in an instant. Spence is at 4 places, Lauritsen's at 3. And we're going to go 3 wide. No, they sort themselves out. They back out into 2 wide, into 3 and 4. But wow, what a chaotic start that was, Aaron.
Yeah, already we've got some close wheel-to-wheel action, and I think that's Poggi trying to go for a move on Zwemscher, but didn't quite get it done. This is Wilkinson trying to overtake on more in front of him, but just also had no luck doing that. But yeah, Poggi, I was going to say before the start that, yeah, he might have qualified well, but I'm not sure he'll be able to hang on to it, as he doesn't seem to have the experience that these guys do. And yeah, off the start, just could not get that start that he wanted and slips down a long way. But this is Lauritsen now going 3 wide on lap 1. Again, these guys are absolutely leaving no room onto each other whatsoever, as Lauritsen is just falling down now. And he's under pressure from his fellow driver, Spence, behind. But yeah, already a lot of action on lap 1. These guys really do not care.
And it's not even finished yet, lap 1. Lauritsen just dropping 2 places there to Heron and Young as we race down to the final chicane. And what is going to happen here? We've always seen so much drama. They all make it through. Yes, somehow they do.
Ooh.
But just looking at the background there, I tell you what, it was getting really close. One of the Alcantech cars, it was Zemstra. And then more brilliant through the back of him as Bell and Zambra come together. And coming off worse there was definitely Bell. Well, they both get away with that one, but Schnabel is closing in. Like we saw in the previous heat, when they started battling out top, that brought the car behind right into the equation, and we're seeing that yet again. So it's just made his way past Lauritsen. Lauritsen falling down from the order. I think there's been a big incident.
Oh
yes,
my word!
And I said it, I warned you.
Oh, it's getting worse. That's a good 4 or 5 cars involved there. I think that was Poggi, Zwemstra, Lauritsen. Oh my lord, and Walsh as well, who looks to be the innocent bystander in that. We're going to have a look at what happened. And look, it's the famous turn 3 and 4. We've been talking about it all weekend, and well, this is Lauritsen just giving Zwemscher the tiniest tap, ever so slightly.
I'm not even sure that was a bit of netcode. Oh wow, big impact there for Walsh on Poggi. He was out of control of his car. You can see he's just desperately trying to get it off the racing line as it was flailing and flapping around like a fish's tail out of water. Just unawares. Our top 3, well, they start to spread out a little bit. Zambra now 7 tenths ahead of Schnabel, who's 1.2 seconds behind Bell. They've really opened up their gaps between one another at this stage of the race. What does that all mean? Well, now means that Spence and Moore and Wilkinson, they are in the automatic transfer spots. Vulcan, He's a little bit further back, some 2 seconds back from 8th. Likewise, Nick Polliard, the American, currently in 10th, and well, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, all going to be in the pits. Lorentzen, yeah, to be in. There's some more while that loses in place to Spence.
I think Amor was just being a little bit too optimistic into turn 1 and 2 on his braking. He nearly got it done, but just didn't quite get it right. But he seems to be the faster driver out of these guys right now. I don't think Spence is going to put up too much of a fight. We'll wait and see as he makes his way past the AM driver and hopefully now has got them in fully done and can start to pull away. But I think this is huge for the AM championship as Luritzen is out, and yeah, Spence is going to be nice and comfortably in the feature right now if he can stay where he is.
Yes, he's going to have 2 AMs from Heat 2 head into the final automatically as things stand at the moment. That'll be Spencer Wilson reaching half race distance in Heat 2. Zabra leads from Bell, Schnabel, Young, Heron and Moore. You can see these guys, Spence and Wilkinson, last 3 places, all really close together in these automatic transfer spots. Alcan, he's not too far behind. He is closing in ever so slightly. Polliard 10th. Northamptonshire, he's been into the pits. Luritzen 2. Poggy and Walsh, they still remain there. They're looking like they are out. And realistically, those bottom 4, wow, bar some complete miracle, some complete and utter carnage. Looks like that those drivers, well, Zemstra and Luritzen, will not be heading automatically through as on pit exit. That was no, sorry, it was Tom Poggy. Apologies, the privateer heading back out again.
I think Bell's
slowing up.
a mistake somewhere. I'm sure he's losing a bunch of time.
Who's made a mistake? I missed that.
I think Bell. He's lost so much time to Zambra.
He has, yeah. Look, but it's not just Bell because also Schnabel's. You know, he's lost a time too. I mean, he has gained up on, you know, caught up to the back of Bell. I mean, he's around about 1 second behind. But even so, I do wonder if Bell's had to serve a slowdown potentially. And that's what's caused it, because we saw that in Heat 1, didn't we? And just how much it can hurt you. And I think we may well have just seen the after effects of it yet again. And Bell now has Schnabel to deal with him all over his gearbox. They come down into the hairpin.
Oh, it's contact!
Oh, Bell's around, and well, he's going to sit and wait there. I mean, if he just, well, he's flicked it and got it going again, he's going to go slow down for cutting the grass, but I think that's the least of his worries. As I think he must have got a shout from his teammate, Daniel Amor, who, let's not forget Amor, served a qualifying ban. He started on the penultimate position on the grid. He's up 7 spots. The 2 teammates go side by side, Amor getting past Bell. But even so, even after all of that drama, Bell still only in 6th and comfortably within those transfer spots. There's Schnabel there.
Schnabel, yeah.
Oh, he's supposed to serve to slow down or something. Or hold on, has he got damage? He has.
He's not got a front wing, yeah. That's his. Oh, that's his. I think he might have hit the Wall of Champions.
He's got a broken front right. It would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? And well, that now means Balkan is up into P8 and into those automatic transfer spots. Let's take a look at the replay and find out exactly. So that's after the event. Well, we just picked it up from initially. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
No.
It's just what I thought. Yeah.
Too much curb on the inside. And wow. Caught him out dearly. And Zemstra now showing why he's decided to get back out on track, because all it takes is a couple of more cars and he will be in that top 8 by, well, if that happens, that'll be a complete enough miracle. And let's just take you through the procedure, well, where we're up to. We reached 7.5, just over 7.5 minutes complete. 3/4 race distance. Zambra leads a massive margin now of 7.5 seconds over Aiden Young, Archie Heron, and Amor, Bell, Wilkinson, and Spence, Lawrence, Balkan. Well, Spence has just got past Wilkinson.
That's definitely contact.
Well, yes, this is missing a front wing, and well, all of a sudden, Wilkinson, does he decide to ride this one out? That's going to be the interesting point. So, Spence is behind him.
Oh, just loses it, yeah, and then
tiny tap, it was just nudged to dislodge it, and then, wow, Spence following through, hit the curb, and that it fell off. So, well, he's going to keep going. Now, this is going to be really interesting. So, Pollard will be catching him at an exponential rate. White flag is not in the air, so we're going to have 2 more laps left for Wilkinson to hold on. He is 7 seconds clear of Nick Pollard. Oh, that car really not sound healthy whatsoever, Aaron. And, well, this is bold. It's brave from the Brits. Can he hold on? It's closing. It's now down to 9 seconds. Pollard's coming. I mean, Zemstra, is he too far back as well to rule out this equation? So, I mean, what, he's some 14 seconds behind Wilkinson.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting end to the race. I think, though, Pollard might have made a mistake somewhere. He has. Zemstra's catching him at a rate of knots. Pollard, I think he's hit the barrier on turn 3 and 4. Yeah, so Zwemstra, as you were saying, might actually make it into the feature race, which, I mean, it's just incredible and really goes to show why you do not give up, even in these heat races, which are so short. But yeah, his line looked all wrong there. I'm not quite sure what was going on for Nick Pollard. Not sure if maybe he had some issues with the car or his wheel, but yeah, something definitely did not look right there. But I don't know if Zwemstra's going to be able to catch Wilkinson by 13 seconds. I know Wilkinson has massive damage. Obviously, he doesn't have a front wing, but I think Zwemstra is going to get close, but I don't think it's going to be close enough, Tim.
We'll find out. Zambra's crossed the line. So he's taken the white flag. It's also very close between Heron, Amor, and Bell. It's 11 seconds, Aaron. That's the gap now. It's you can just watch it, just sit there and watch the deficit just tumble. It's now within 10 seconds, 10.9, 10.8, it'll be 10.7 now, and then into 10.6. And this is where it's going to get more and more challenging for Wilkinson through this sort of section on the track, as we see Heron right now currently sitting in third and more 3 turns behind. Those 2 are teammates, so you don't see those guys potentially taking on one another. Likewise, Bell behind them, all part of the same team, although Heron from the sister teams who are Moore and Bell. That was clipping the wall.
Yeah, that was extremely close for
Bell.
Moore. Yeah, for Bell. All of these drivers really pushing on this final lap. I think Moore as well was just trying to close that gap to Heron ahead. I don't think it's quite going to be enough. But yeah, if you look at the last lap from Wilkinson to Zwemstra, the gap is only around 5 seconds, which, yeah, there's definitely not going to be enough. I think Zwemstra's just going to miss out, but it's going to put him in a perfect place for the consolation race. But this man, after having, well, a horrid start to last weekend, he's going to have a great start to this weekend. He wins in Heat 2. Great start for Zambra as Heron and Amor get incredibly close to the line. I think Heron's just about held on to third. He has. And, well, that was a race of attrition, to say the least. And I think Amor's blown his engine up. And actually, Spence is slowing right down. Can Balkan get 6th on the last lap? He can't quite. Yeah, having a lot of close finishes today, aren't we, Tim?
Yeah, and, well, you're right. Sebs just needs that one more lap as Wilkinson crosses the line with no front ring for the last, what, 2 laps. And he makes the last of the transfer spots. So Zambra, Young, Heron, Amor, Bell, Spence, Balkan, and Wilkinson all head straight through. Zwemstra, Lauritsen, Poggy, Walsh, Pollard, and Schnabel all miss out on a big name there already. Lauritsen running incredibly strongly in Am. He's going to have to do it the hard way. And likewise, Lennart Schnabel too. And he will also start from the back of the grid. Because the grid being formed from where you finished in your heat, that's even more challenging for the Germans. So let's take you through your grid for the consolation race, the B final. Russell starts for pole with Kevin Zwemstra alongside him. Hull, he's got Ritson for company on the 2nd row of the grid with Dorian Arroyo and Tom Poggy making up your 3rd row. Kevin Presley, he starts on row 4 with Jay Walsh, with Caponio and Nick Pollard running out your top 10 on row 5 of the grid. A last remaining row is Klist and Schnabel. Ooh, we could lose quite a few pros from this B final, Aaron. It's going to be really tough on them. Who is going to make it through? Who's going to end in disappointment? It's a real tricky conundrum just waiting on the last driver to take the grid, which is Kevin Zremstra, keeping everyone hanging around. There we go, he just pops in. Here come the lights. Let's get ready. Let's go racing. Who's going to make it through to the final? Let's find out together as we are green and we are away. Is there going to be big contact? There's definitely going to be some desperate measures of drivers scrambling to make it through. They're 2-3 wide in the background there. But what can Schneider? Oh, there's already a spinner, and that is Lauritsen. He's gone and he's lost his front wing. That is not good for him. Of course, the only top 4 making it through, but it's tight. It's angst in the midfield once again. It's just locking up and going a bit wide. That was Jay Walsh, just gets back in. You see Schneider, interestingly, he's playing this one a lot more defensively. He knows he's quicker than some of these drivers, but trying to play the safety game because he knows one bit of contact, and that's going to end this evening. Always a big twitching moment there for Dorian Arroyo. Collects it, gets it going again once. There's the Mexican, but he's going to lose a whole heap of places. Drops all the way back down to 9th. As Russell leads from Zremstra, Hull and Cadence in those automatic transfer spots. But it's close. Hull pressurizing Zremstra. And is he going to pop out of the slipstream? No, he elects to stay in there. Russell as well needs to be thinking about what they're doing. They head through the hairpin and they're all over one another. This is going to be interesting on the run down the back straight. This long straight here in Canada. Right on board with Joe Hull. And he's just dropped a little bit back. Is he going to be close enough? Is he going to make up enough time? I don't think he is to mount an attack. Zremstra's having a bit of a look. Dips back in behind Russell. Through the curves. And you can see Russell, he's playing it a lot more safer compared to Zremstra, and especially Hull, who absolutely aced that final chicane. As Zremstra pulls out once again, Hull follows him. Is it going to be the double move? No, Hull looking to go right around the outside, do it the hard way. It's going to give him the inside into 2. Is he going to get it done? Well, yes, he is. And in spectacular style, Hull takes it up, but Zremstra comes straight back at him. And now Presley is coming along to join in the fight as Hull slips it up the inside into 3. But now Presley is right onto the back of Zremstra, and Zremstra could lose, well, another place here and drops it to 4 for Caponio is hot on the heels.
Yeah, and Presley goes for the move and just about gets ahead. That was so close. They must be pressing their lucky stars that netcode was on their side there. But yeah, Zremstra's losing a hell bunch of places. Caponio now fighting for that 4th place spot. And yeah, Zremstra's lost, well, 3 places in the space of about 10 corners, I'd say. And yeah, that's not what he wanted at all. And it's just allowing, slow down for Hull.
And that's, well, he's going to try and serve it here through the hairpin, right around the outside. Tuxel nearly makes contact there. Not even sure if he did bang wheels with Kevin Zremstra, who's now back up to 4th. But look, here comes Schnabel. Well, from the back of the grid up into 5th. By the end of the 2nd lap, and within touching distance of those qualification places, it's getting closer as in the background there, Walsh and Hull scrapping away and to inflict more misery onto Walsh. So onto Hull, Walsh is ahead of him. You see Hull's coming straight back at him. You can see the group in front of him just disappearing into the distance as he looks to slot it up the inside into 1. Walsh gives it up in relative ease. Tom Poggy's not far behind him, but up in front. Presley's now taken the lead from Russell. Caponio all over the back of Russell. We've got a 5-way fight, and there's only 4 places. This is going to get tight. It's going to get more intense. We've got 10 minutes remaining, 14-minute long race, this B final. And it's only going to get more drama-filled and exciting as the clock ticks down.
It's just getting ever so close to the end of this race. And there's Caponio going for the move on Russell for 2nd place. Not a position where you would see many overtakes on this track, but they're now going 3 wide. This surely isn't going to end well. You've got Zremstra, I believe, in the middle of all of this, but yeah, he just has to back out, and Russell not giving up. He slides into Schnabel. I think there was a little bit of contact. Russell ends off worse, and there's a car off in the background. I think that's Hull.
It is.
It is, yeah. Hull having a horrendous race so far.
Well, we knew that there was going to be at least one pro lose out here. But right now, it's definitely Hull. But this is not done and dusted. We saw how Northamptonshire, after crashing out early on, nearly made it through automatically from his heat. Now. This is, I mean, Russell is no slouch, but, I mean, he's got some tough cookies ahead of him in the form of Schnabel and Northamptonshire. I mean, surely, for Philip Russell, this is all about picking up scraps from people's mistake and contacts, as Caponio are talking of pressure situations. Presley wiggly on the entrance to free. To the brakes they can. You can see Presley just struggling a little bit right now. The Italian Caponio we're on board with, looking a lot more confident with his car as he pulls out of the slipstream. That mistake from Presley is probably going to cost him the lead here in Canada in the B final. Yes, it does. And that is Caponio out into the lead. Now, what can he do? And also, what can that chasing pack of Schnabel, Zuncher and Russell do? As yet again, Presley comes straight back out the Italian. They go too wide into the hairpin. This is going to make the life of Schnabel, Zuncher and Hull so much more easier. Just look how much time Schnabel gained through the hairpin. I mean, it took about 3 or 4 attempts out of them.
Yeah, this is the trouble. If they fight, it's just going to get worse and worse for them. And I said this last week, you don't gain any points if you do finish inside this top 4. It only helps your starting position for the feature race. And it's only by a few positions, as we've seen so far. And that's a big mistake. That's Presley off. And that's big contact. That's the 2 teammates, Wemstra and Schnabel making contact. Yeah, that is a big impact. And I think Schnabel has damage as well.
Wow. Presley gets going again, but down in 6th now. Tom Poggy on his debut. Oh yes, that is big trouble for Schnabel. Wow, front wing gone. He's still. I mean, how is he still in 4th?
Yeah,
she's closing. No, I mean, he's going to pull this car over. You can see, yeah, he's backing out of this. I think that's going to be parking the car, but it allows Walsh to go through. This is all about consolidation now. You see him just wiggling the steering wheel, feathering the throttle, trying to ascertain what grip he's got as Presley sails by on the grass. Kevin Estra passed on the grass style there.
3 amps. Oh my god.
Wow. I mean, I said maybe about 1 pro not making it through. Well, Zvenstr is in the pit, so he's out. Realistically, Schnabel's out, and looks like we're going to lose Presley as well. So, out of the 5 amp drivers, we're going to lose 4 of them in the B final.
Yeah, I mean, that was just so many unfortunate things happened all at once. You can see Presley losing it there. Zwemstra didn't see Schnabel slow down. And yeah, I think there wasn't much Zwemstra really could have done. Wasn't really much Schnabel could have done. And yeah, that was just... I'd love to see that from Zwemstra's on board, actually. Wow. Him going over and over, but wow.
Hey, how did Russell avoid all of that?
Yeah, that is... really impressive from Russell.
I mean, I said about him sitting there in 5th and just, you know, looking to pick up the scraps from any instance in front of him. I didn't... Well, sure, Philip Russell was not expecting to pick up 3 places. So there you go, you see Presley spinning. Hold tight, Philip Russell. Yeah, and there you go, where Zemstra was bouncing through the air. I think he landed on the rear wing of Schnabel. And where Schnabel had lost his front wing already, and then lose that big dent into his rear wing meant he had no grip when he arrived at the scene of the crime at turn 1. Wow. We've got a battle for 2nd place on our hands between Russell and Poggy. I mean, they can afford to battle a little bit. We've got 5 minutes remaining. They've got a big gap to Walsh, who's what, some 6 seconds down the road from these guys, but I think Russell, with witnessing that big incident, being incredibly fresh in his mind, I'm sure he won't mind losing a place, the Frenchman, whatsoever. And so all about making it through as Poggy moves, has a bit of a fake there to the inside, trying to make Russell outbreak himself, and well, it works an absolute treat. And now, wow, Poggy couldn't quite capitalise. I mean, he sold the done, I mean, beautifully to Russell, who, well, brought it hook, line and sinker. But equally, I think Poggy a little bit nervous of what Russell was going to do to defend the position. And in doing so, he goes for the fake once again. Knows Russell is definitely susceptible to it. And look at the speed Poggy carries through the chicane. And there we go, up the inside. This is surely going to be it into turn one for the Frenchman.
Yeah, we know Poggy has good paces. He put in an absolutely impressive qualifying performance. Didn't have a great heat, of course, but he's got some good pace. He gets past Russell. And as you said, I don't think Russell's really going to be too fussed about losing that place. I think just losing one.
It's only one position on the grid for the final. You know, it's difference between starting on the penultimate row and the final row between second and third in this B final. So, I mean, realistically, it's not really worth crying over spilt milk, losing any sleep over at all. And oblivious, well, I mean, I'm sure he probably saw what went on in his rear mirrors and then the relative tumble like a stone to everyone else behind him. But the Italian just out in a little world of his own. 6 seconds clear of Poggy. He can afford just to gently bring this one home with no mistakes. Doesn't need to push the car whatsoever. There's Tiziano Carbonio.
I think he's got this race in the bag. I think he's put in a stellar performance. This consolation race hasn't really put a foot wrong, to be honest, and he's very much deserving of this race win. But Schnabel still not giving up. He's just passing Kliss there to see if anyone up ahead can make any more mistakes, but I think it's unlikely as we've only got about 2 or 3 laps to go. And yeah, well, some of the top runners in this race really showing, you know, even they are susceptible to mistakes, and this is going to be huge for both the AM and Pro Championships. And those 3 AM drivers, Poggy, Russell and Walsh, are going to be counting their lucky stars that they are in that feature at the moment. But yeah, this is these 3 races so far have been interesting, to say the least.
Well, you asked for drama, definitely delivered in an absolute abundance here from Camden. We still got one more race left to go. We've still got the final coming up for you in around about a couple of minutes' time. That'll be 18 minutes long. Got a short little warm-up in between. Let's see, Carbonio just trying to stroke this one home. We'll have one more lap left after his current lap. He will take the white flag as he crosses the line, indicating one more lap left to go. Dorian Arroyo's had a bit of an issue. He's come, well, it's turns 3 and 4 as he's parking it. Has he made contact with the wall? Oh, has he just had enough? Let's find out.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the latter, to be honest.
Well, or a combination of the two. So, all looks good. Does he lose the rear? Yes, he does. Oh, well, the generator taps, but possibly damaged the rear left suspension there. Definitely saw it move around, a bit of a wiggle. And the Mexican is, well, he's had enough. Then pulls the car over, checks out, tows it straight to pit lane. He's got 3/4 of a lap left to bring this one home as the Italian. And he'll do so comfortably. Interestingly, exactly the same lap time as Tom Poggy just last time around. Both of them, interestingly, doing on the last lap, the personal best, so good stuff to them. So let's have a... This comes down to the thousandths of a second, so it was a 142... So 138.083. No, sorry, that's from his heat. Apologies. 137.990 was set for Carbonio. Let's have a look at what Poggy's was. His was 993, so 3 thousandths of a second. That was all the difference between those two. Although Schnabel just sets new fastest lap of the race there, all the way down in 8th. Well, nothing to lose for the German whatsoever. Down back straight comes Carbonio. Just the final chicane to make it through, and he will win the B final bounces across the curb. I had flashbacks there as he launched it across the curves, but with a weave, he crosses the line with the victory. Does the Italian is the only pro to make it through. Well, I say that there's still what Walsh is still got a little bit more of the lap to go. Poggy is through, Russell's through. Where is Walsh? He's just going through the final chicane. He's made it through safe. 3 Ams through. More importantly, 4 pros out in the B final. Ooh, and some big names in there as well. Schnabel, Zemstra, you know, Hull's been, you know, relatively quick all race. Presley's always there or thereabouts. So, you know, and also Asger Lauritsen as well. The Dane only come home in 6th, and we've seen some great performances so far from him this season, Aaron. So, some big, you know, not just in pro, but also in some big names. Alton's, well, you see Schnabel, that's what he thinks, so he just doesn't care, just rub it up against the wall of the exit of the final chicane.
And sets a new fastest lap in the process, but yeah, Schnabel really not going to be happy with what happened in that B final. He's going to be absolutely miserable after this race, as that's his championship taking a massive knock. I know we're only a few rounds into this season, but you know, every point matters, and you know, in the feature race you get the most points, and he's not going to be in it.
Talking of which, yeah, this season, should we take a little look at the calendar of what we've got in store for the rest of the season? Of course, as I mentioned, alluded to a little earlier on, we've used the 3rd race in North America. Of course, we started things out on Hungaroring, Road America, VIR, Montreal this week before we head to Barcelona in a week's time. Then Rudskogen on the newer tracks to iRacing. It's going to be an interesting one. Lots of switchbacks, undulations, a real tricky circuit. It's definitely cemented its hearts into a lot of the lower safety class series on the service. Before we head to a completely polar opposite track, is the Land of the Rising Sun, the iconic Fuji with that massive start-finish straight. Then it's another Fast and Furious circuit, Monza, for round things out. Well, Long Beach. And Long Beach, that is one way to close out the season, isn't it? That's a track fraught with danger at every corner, and even straight, being a street circuit. There's going to be things that, you know, positions in the championship up for grabs, Aaron. There's going to be people, you know, looking to make moves, but it's going to come as an all or nothing stakes final rounds of the season. Especially, imagine if we go down to the wire with the championship, either pro or am, or both of them. I mean, that could really shape things in the final race of the season. Could flip on its head.
Yeah, and we've seen across this whole season so far that anything can happen. You know, the top drivers could just crash out of nowhere and you will not expect it.
Well,
and
VIR last week being prime example.
Exactly. I think the both championships are going to go down to the wire. And yeah, Long Beach is going to be very interesting. One of my personal favourite tracks. But, excuse me there. Don't know if many other people can say the same. But me personally, I quite like Long Beach.
Shout out to one of our sponsors for the series, Apex Racing Academy, of course the title sponsor for the F4 Championship, with setups for road and oval racing, track guides, data packs, and also group coaching sessions too. Make sure you check those guys out if you want to go faster out on track. Well, the warm-up session in between the B final and the grand final just coming to an end. Checker flag is out. Now we get ready for 18 minutes. 4 minutes longer than the B final. This is going to provide 4 minutes extra of drama. I'm not sure I can take it. I don't know about you guys at home. Love to know your thoughts in the chat. Let's take a look at the grid for the final race of this evening. Kumala starts on pole with Saru Zambra alongside him, looking to make it 2 wins on the bounce. Kelleher starts in the second row with Young. Kaiback has got Archie Herring for company on the third row with Fyodor Bergson, joined by Daniel Amor. Not bad for a round where he had to serve a qualifying ban. Strauss has got James Bowles around out your top 10 and a whole all-pro top 10 with Johansson, joined by top AM driver Garrett Spence, your leader in the AM Championship. Row 7, that sees Minot, newcomers of the series, Lawrence Barkan line up alongside one another, with row 8 being Kirk and Wilkinson. Caponio, another newcomer to the series, Tom Poggy, starts on row 9 with row 10, and the top 20 rounded out by Philip Russell and Jay Walsh. Just waiting on last driver to take the grid, which is Poggy, funnily enough, just mentioned about him. So he's not going to make the grid. Here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing for the final time this evening. Who's going to take the victory? Let's find out together. And I tell you what, Kulmala with an absolutely ace start there, and has cleared the field. He's already 6/10 clear of absolutely everyone. And let's not forget, there's some incredibly strong competition right behind him. But they're all stacked up as they head through for the final time this evening. Everyone just looks to be playing it a little bit more safer, fresh in the memory of so many instances earlier on, but just running in a bit deep. There's Tom Minot, and there's contact, but he's going to get away with it. No, it's not. He spins, but does he keep it straight? No, there's another big incident.
In the wall.
2, 3, 4 cars in total, all involved. Spence, the AM Championship leader, won the cars involved. He's jumped straight to the pits, and Lawrence Barkan, well, on your debut, he made it through to the final. Did the AM driver, but that car is clattering like mad. It is not healthy as Minot heads through. The instigator of that incident. Oh, what a start. And, well, there's action further up through the field as Kai back and Bergeson duke it out down into the hairpin and get it squirrely on the exit as Kai back, and that allows Bergeson to slip back past him. He is ahead of him for 5th place right now. Bergeson up 2 places. Caponio, he's climbed 5. He's up into 12th. He's had a cracking start as the Italian, invigorated by his win in the B final. Is up front. Oh, Kamala's in the pit lane. He's in the pit lane. Is he left qualifying fuel in or something?
No, I know exactly what that is. And I was going to mention this.
Spinner.
That's Bell. That's Bell round. Yeah, around the final corner. Someone else is in the pits. It's Caponio as well. I was going to mention this. And yeah, Kamala got an absolutely superb start. But I think he might have jumped the start. Honestly, it was so good. I think it was too good. I think he just went before the lights went out. And yeah, he's out of this race. I think that's definitely a drive-through for him. Really unfortunate, but it promotes Zambra into this lead and gives everyone a free place pretty much.
Philip Russell from the back row of the grid. He's up 8th into 11th. That's exactly what's happening right now. That's a big net code. That's a big net code. That's Daniel Amore. Well, I was heaping praise of him after 7-net qualifying ban, but it's all done and dusted for the Brit now. He's into the pit. He's out. Well, casualties are plenty, and we're only just on to lap 2 here. Let's take a look at the replay. I don't know if you called it your end, but my end, Aaron, that looked like a, wow, yeah, again, a massive net code.
Huge net code. Yeah, that's not what you want to see at all. Amore was nowhere near. I think that was Young he was next to. And, yeah, just, I mean, they live on the other side of the pond to each other, Young and Amore, but, yeah, that net code has really rather ruined their races.
Even so, I mean, just looking at, you know, what people's pings are right now, and it's not bad at all. You know, there's, I mean, Spence got the worst one by a country mile. Young's is definitely incredibly raceable, so not too sure why it was so big, but Kelleher up the inside, slots it past Zambra, does the Irishman. Well, the 2 karting stars are duking it out the front. They've pulled clear by some 2 seconds of Bergeson in 3rd. Ooh, this is going to be an interesting final, definitely, for that top spot as Strauss in the middle here between Heron and Young. As, yes, he is, yes, apologies. I had a bit of a moment there, a bit of a brain fart, but of course Heron and Strauss being teammates, surely these two are going to work together here. You know, they'll have that one covered up. You know, they won't be attacking one another, will they? Or will they?
Well, we've seen the TNT esports guys go at each other before in previous races, and even in some of the heats we've seen earlier today. But yeah, I think they're free to race. I think that's what we would all like to see. I don't think there's going to be too many team orders there, but Zambra and Kelleher still battling it out. I think this is going to be the big one for the lead. But as we've said before, if they keep fighting, Bergerson might be able to catch up, and I think Zambra might be realizing that now and is just taking it a bit easy. We will find out if he's going to send it into this last chicane. He lifts off, and yeah, I think this is the smart thing to do. Otherwise, well, you're going to allow Bergerson, Kaibach, and everyone else right back into the clutches.
So head across the line, out onto lap 3. Kelleher leads from Zambra, Bergson in third, then it's Kaibach. Strauss has just got past Heron for 5th, Young, Johansson, Kirky, top AM driver in 9th overall right now. 10th is Bell, then it's Russell Wilson, Minot, Walsh, Caponio, Balkan, Spence, and then out, retired are Kamala, Amor, and Poggy did not make the start, though Bell's just had an incident. What's he done there? No, he was behind his teammate, Amor. So that's surely got to be an incident all by his own. Yes, it was.
Yeah, just going into turn 1, the car didn't look completely hooked up there. Into turn 2, car's really unsettled and yeah, spins around. And I think we've seen a few drivers make that mistake. I think it was him actually who made that same mistake in one of the heats earlier. But now he's got Minor all for company, but Bergerson now trying to defend from Kaibach in 3rd, and Bergerson gets a little bit twitchy under braking, but they're still side by side. None of them have the benefit of slipstream, of course. This is just going to be a complete drag race down this back straight, and Kaibach just slips behind to try and get that slipstream. And now Paul's alongside once again, going to try and go for the outside move into this final chicane. It's a bold move, but we like bold moves, and Bergerson just plays it safe and lets him through into 3rd.
For now. How much longer will it last? That is the question. I'll tell you what, Bergson is really hot on the heels of Kaibach. Has a bit of a look up into turn 1, and he's going to get the move done, or is he? Because I tell you what, Kaibach is fighting back, and he's fighting back hard, and they almost touch wheels on the exit of 2, and they're still side by side on the run down to 3, but I think it's just about advantage to the German, and Kaibach seals the deal into 3rd. But by golly, this is not done and dusted by any stretch of the imagination. We're right on board with Bergerson. Oh, well, he is in full attack mode. It's a Sweden mistake from Kaibach, and that gifts Bergerson 3rd.
Yeah, Kaibach just, I think he might have locked a rear brake into that corner just ever so slightly, and maybe took a little bit too much speed and struggled to slow that car down, but he managed to keep it on the road, which is always good, but he's going to have to fight back if he wants to get onto that podium once again. We're going to get a replay from Bergerson's perspective, and here's actually Kaibach's perspective into his corner. Yeah, just loses the rear on entry, and yeah, did well to save it, I've got to be honest.
Wow. 8 minutes complete out of the 18. Ooh, what more twists and turns to the story has this race got? I think, you know, the book of plot lines is not done with this race by any stretch of the imagination. That is Bell mounting attack on Wilkinson, who squeezes him out onto the grass there. And Bell comes straight back to muscle his way through and just nudges Wilkinson and then instantly onto the back.
Why not?
Just got distracted clearly by what was happening in front of him. I think he might have even hit the wall there. And Bell, not messing around, dispatches of Philip Russell there with incredible ease and incredibly quickly. Bell is driving angry. And he'll tell you what, he's really just eating up the time to drivers in front of him. Although a bit of a clip on the wall in the exit. I did hear a bit of a scrape there. Well, he is leaving nothing on the table whatsoever.
Yeah, I love this type of racing, and F4 is always so chaotic, whether it's league racing or officials, and people. It's something about this car that people just love to just make everything chaotic. And whether you're a pro or an amateur driver, you suffer with just as much chaos as another driver, and championships today are going to be affected so much. Schnabel out. We're going to have Minot as well in a poor position. Lauritsen, of course, out in the B final. But yeah, wow, this has been an interesting day for racing, to say the least.
I mean, also Capone, I mean, he was, while we were watching that brilliant battle, change for the lead here. Zambra ahead of Kelleher. Yep, that's done. He reached the braking zone, and Kelleher nearly outbrakes himself there, and he ends up into the back of Zambra. Ooh. Wow, that could have really, I mean, it must have been while they were clearing Spence that has allowed Zambra to get past Kelleher there. And yeah, I was just saying about Caponio. Now, he was around about 9th, 10th place. He had an incident while we were watching that battle between Bergson and Kaibach. He has had another one since then, and that means he's down into 15th. He's still up 2 places, though, so it's still all not bad for the Italian, but certainly after that win in the B final, what he would have hoped for whatsoever. There's also a big chance of Russell, despite losing that place to Bell. He's up 8th place. Ooh. Was that Kelleher in the wall there? Did he just clip? I mean, maybe a bit more of grace. I know these F4 cars will take a bit of contact and a bit of punishment, but even so, I mean, a bit more of that, and he could end up in a bit of trouble, could the Irishman?
Yeah, I think Kelleher on that previous lap might have had a really poor last sector, as he was about 6/10 off of Zambra. But he's going to have another go into this last chicane. He's getting closer and closer. I think he breaks a little bit earlier than Zambra. He's going to try and get a good exit out of this last chicane. I think he has. He's got a much better exit than Zambra. He's going to pull alongside. He's going to have the inside line into turn 1. He's already ahead as they cross the start-finish straight. It's going to be close. Can Zambra hold on to the outside? It's going to be close. They get so close to each other. But I think Zambra just about hangs on, and he has. That was some good defending by Zambra into turn 1. It placed his car perfectly, and Kelleher just has to sit behind.
Epic racing between these two yet again. Got around about 6 minutes left in the final. Nearly a whole heat race left remaining. And these two really are not done and dusted whatsoever. On board with Kelleher in the 170 for Team Driver Racing Kart. Nearly touching the back of Zambra there. Backing out, just looking for the momentum to absolutely ace the corners, to mount an attack on the Swiss driver. Score X Esports. Look at the inside. No, Kelleher thinks against it. Backs out of it. Zambra's not phased whatsoever. Looks like Zambra gets a much better exit there out for the hairpin. Now Kelleher will have the slipstream. It's kicking in. Just look at the relative in the top left corner. Watch it drop. It's not dropping as much as if Kelleher would have got a better exit out of the hairpin. It just means it's going to close up to the back, shrink that gap to 2/10. And again, I tell you what, Kelleher looks a lot stronger than Zambra through that final chicane, Aaron. And onto my cross, wow.
I think the outside line is going to be actually better if you can get on the brakes well and trust your opponent not to run into you. But these guys are racing cleanly right now. And yeah, that outside line into turn 1, it places your car perfectly into turn 2, gives you that inside line and launches you into the lead. And Kelleher, I think, has learned that and yeah, is up into first place.
He's advantage Kelleher at the moment. It's a lot of racing left to do. It's by far and away your closest battle on track right now. Strauss is though onto the back of Kaibach, that battle for 4th place, and likewise Heron onto the back of Johansson in the battle for 7th. Those your closest battles. So Bell's really caught up onto the back of Kirk. I've only just spotted that one. He's about 3 or 4 seconds down the road. He's going to pass Russell, but he's closed out to within a second now. So Bell still continuing the charge. Just really secure himself a place inside the top 10. To ninth. There's Johansson onto the brakes. Heron right behind him. Ooh, still 4 places up for grabs here. Entering the latter stages of the race. Zambra closes up once again. Looks to do to Kelleher what Kelleher's done to him so many times, but again, Kelleher just acing the final chicane. And as much as Zambra's closing, I don't think he's going to be close enough. It's going to take a big move. He doesn't elect to do it this time. He knows he's still got further chances. Place your bets. Who's going to take the victory? I'm really not sure who it's going to be, and that is Bell on Kirk. And well, in those last few corners, he's taken 8/10 out of Kirk. So, yes, out of Kirk. Oh, that is Bell through. Yes, it is. As Kirk outbreaks himself, Bell up into 9th. And, well, 1 place up from where he started.
Yeah, everyone's switching positions right now and just trying to gain back a few places as we come to the final few laps of this race. And this is the battle everyone is going to be watching, the battle for the lead. And honestly, I don't know who's going to win. I think I'm going to say Kelleher at the moment. I know Zambra is a very, very speedy driver, as we saw him win the feature race last time out, but I just think Kelleher has that slight edge where it matters in that final sector into that last chicane, and I think he's got this one covered for the moment.
For the moment. I mean, that's the most crucial words there, Aaron, isn't it? So one thing across the low, Zambra, here we go. This is the move, surely, and that's going to pull him ahead of Kelleher, even before they even reach the braking zone. As they skim those walls and kick up a bit of grass. Bergson doing it as he's really pushing to close upon the back. He knows that if one of these has a mistake, or if they both do, he can take advantage. As Kelleher getting loose, it's getting Larry. This is the penultimate lap, the final race from round 4 of the championship. I mean, surely if you're Kelleher, this is more the place to be in second. And leave it for a last lap send, either go into the hairpin or just sure you stay onto the back of him through the hairpin and then mount an attack down the back straight, Aaron. Would you want to be ahead? It's a tricky one because that back straight and where it lies in the lap, it's not like, say, Interlagos where you've got the back straight, well, after turn 2, bit of mistake there from Zambra. It's going to allow Kelleher to catch up onto the back of him. He's closing. Is he going to go for the move? No, he's backing out of it. He's electing to sit behind. As much as Zambra goes defensive, he moves left, he moves right. He's trying to sell him the dummy. Does Zambra buy it? Well, not quite, as they side by side on the exit. And Zambra with that wider line, just getting that bit more traction, allowing him to stay ahead for the moment. But Kelleher is hot on his heels. The gap off the exit was about 2 tenths. It's now under a tenth. They pull alongside. Kelleher, drivers left, and they touch wheels there. Zambra and Kelleher, and Zambra is going to hold on to it for now. As they come round, they're going to take the white flag. 1 lap left to go here from Montreal. And who is going to take it? Well, they just about got across the line in time. And they bounce across the curbs. And Kelleher can't find a way past for the moment. As in the background there, Strauss and Kaibach scrapping it away over 4th place. Strauss just ahead, and I think, he's going to pick up that 4th place for now. There's still a chance for Kaibach to come back at him. Meanwhile, up front, Kelleher versus Zambra. Only somewhat 3/4 of a lap left to go. Kelleher has a good look. It forces Zambra wide. Kelleher comes alongside, and Zambra's going to have the inside line into the next chicane. Can he hold on to this place? And a bit of an elbows out nudge across there from Kelleher, and it's getting tight between these two. It's getting a bit Larry and cutting the grass, and that's surely going to be the side down there for Zambra. That's going to give this to Kelleher. He's going to pick up a penalty from that one. And Kelleher just goes defensive. He carries it off just in case.
Yeah.
But Zambra's backing out. I think this is done and dusted between the pair of them, where Zambra's going to have to burn off this one. Now, where is Bergeson? He is not too far behind, 1.2 seconds. And I'm not sure if Zambra has got away with that one, but the way he is staying onto the back of Kelleher, I mean, Bergeson is coming, but he's still 1.2 seconds down the road. Zambra has backed out of it as Kelleher weaves to break the draft down the back straight. And the Irishman, well, by the final chicanes, they launch it across the curves. He's going to hold on to it. Zambra keeps the wall in a last-ditch attempt, but it's all in vain. And Kelleher takes the victory in round 4. Strauss can't make it from 2. Sorry, Zambra can't make it from 2 from 2. He finishes second. Strauss, in the meanwhile, well, Young caught right up onto the back of them and, well, nearly nicks 5th from Kaibach, but only finishes 100th of a second behind. So 110th even. And Kirk, the winner of the AMs, 10th overall. Russell's going to come home in second, Minot third. Russell at 8th place is a cracking result for him. Oh, what a final. What a final.
Yeah, that battle for the lead was something else. I think Zambra just was a little bit too aggressive in that second sector, costing him a lot of time with that potential slowdown. But yeah, my money was on Kelleher. I thought he had the slight advantage, and he came out on top. I think Kaibach as well had a horrible last lap. I think he lost out to Strauss on that final corner. But yeah, as you said, what a final.
Did not fail to deliver whatsoever. Let's wait for the last driver to come across the line, which is Garrett Spencer. Then we can bring up some classified results here from Montreal. There we go. Kelleher taking the victory from Zambra. There was a enthralling race-long battle between those two. Bergson third to round out your podium. Strauss and Kaibach and Young incredibly close to the line between all three of them. Only some half a second separating them, then finishing 4th, 5th, 6th respectively. Johansson, he was 7th, and Heron and Bell. Great recovery drive from Bell to get himself back up to 9th, with Kirk taking the victory in AM, rounding out your top 10. Russell and Minot complete the AM podium with Wilkerson. Caponio, disappointing for him, that incident really cost him dearly. He finishes 14th, with Jay Walsh 15th. Lawrence Balkan, well, that big incident really cost him dearly. 16th, Spence in 17th, and more. Well, he retired the car all the way back on lap 1. Likewise did Kulmala, who, well, must have jumped the start there, like you were saying earlier, Aaron. And Tom Poggi did not take the start, hence why he is 20th. But let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. First off, he couldn't make it 2 from 2, but even so, sorry, Zambra. Second place. It's not a bad result, really, is it?
Yeah, of course, it's not a bad result. I mean, both of the races went pretty good, and yeah, finally I had no crash, and I came through very nicely.
I mean, you say you had no crash. Yourself and Kelleher, the way that you two were scrapping for that lead, I mean, just talk us through it, because it was from the commentary booth, it was spectacular to watch, and you could not tell who was going to take the victory the entirety of the race.
Yeah, it was a really good fight with Keller. I mean, both of us, of course, wanting to win this race. There's no excuse for that, and we just pushed every lap. We pushed each other every lap. We went faster laps, you know, and yeah, it was a good fight at the end. I made a mistake where I braked too late, and yeah, that's a race win for him then.
Did you not pick up a slowdown from where you cut the the chicane on the final lap? Because it seemed like you really missed the corner there.
Yeah. I got the slowdown there, about 2 seconds slowdown. I just got off the throttle and tried to manage it pretty well, so I could still get P2.
Well, clearly I need some tips on how to burn off slowdowns from yourself, because it looked like you didn't seem to lose that much pace from it at all. It was, I mean, to the point of it left me questioning where you'd even picked up a slowdown. But having said all that, Barcelona next round, how are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, Barcelona is a really good track, one of my favorites definitely, and I think the race will be fun there. A lot of corners, a lot of hard corners, but it will be a good one, I think.
Okay, controversial opinion time. Which layout do you prefer, the full Grand Prix or the historic one, which has got obviously that misses out the final chicane?
For me personally, I hate the final chicane, so I'll go for the historic one. I just don't like the lost chicane. It's just too slow.
Right answer in my book there, Cyro. Well, congratulations on the second place, and well, we'll see you in a week's time at Barcelona.
Thank you.
Aaron, who would you like to talk to next? We've got, I see waiting patiently, is Frederick Hansen and Philip Russell. Which one do you want? Who are you taking?
It's a difficult one. I kind of want to speak to Philip after that interesting B final. I want to know how this man felt after avoiding what seemed to be a unavoidable incident in that B final. Philip, what was going through your mind after that huge crash that happened in front of you?
Wow, it was a bit of a weird evening for me. Heat in the first heat, I just didn't have any pace. I finished 9th, obviously, and I thought, just try and do it in the final and get through to the A final. But yeah, like you said, I got overtaken by all the pros, and I was running in 5th, and I was like, this is I hope they got to make contact, and they did. Obviously, the world champions, and yeah, it was. I just had to slam on the brakes. I saw some cars on their roof, and yeah, it was hectic. But to come away and out of that and come away and take was it 3rd in the B final and get into the A final was fantastic. I guess for me after not having any pace in the heat.
Yeah, and still coming away with 2nd place in that feature. Do you think maybe you could have gotten the win in the feature, or do you think you sort of maximised what you could have today?
I think I just maximised what I could. I don't know what the issue was. I just had no confidence in the car. I had Tom chasing me in the A final. He had a few incidents. I think he would have overtaken me had he not had those incidents. So to come away a 2nd, it's a damage limitation kind of race for me.
Well, I'm sure you can still be happy with that, as I think the AM Championship has taken a massive just tumble on its head after everything that's happened today. But going into Barcelona next weekend, is it one of your stronger tracks? Do you have any high hopes for that?
It's not my favourite, if I'm being honest, but there's been some races already this season that have not been my favourite, and I've come away with I think it's 2 3rds in class. So we'll see what we can get. Like I said, I'm just enjoying the season, see what comes of it. If I keep taking podiums, the championship could be there at the end. So just keep chipping away and see what I can get.
Yeah, well, good luck to you, mate. And before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank after today's race?
You guys, as always, you guys do a fantastic job in the commentary and obviously the organisation of the championship. So yeah, thank you to you guys.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Philip, and good luck for next week.
Cheers, Aaron. Bye.
Let's have a chat next up with Frederick Hansen. Frederick, well, a real sort of topsy-turvy evening for yourself, really. But I mean, even so, that final up 4 places to come home 7th. It's it's still a solid result, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy about it. I have been practicing a lot for this. Didn't really go as planned in the Heat 1.
And so sort of from that, I mean, obviously you're right in the midfield. Heat 1 was a bit of a challenge for you as well. The final, I mean, it was so close in the midfield for the start of the race. Just sort of talk us through this opening few laps.
Well, I got a great start from my point of view, and then I wanted to stay behind the cars. And me and Tom had an incident, which was a bit annoying. He is a really good driver. So yeah, that made a huge gap to the drivers behind.
It was a real shame for you, wasn't it? Because otherwise, I think you might have been right up there battling for, well, certainly 3rd, I think.
Yeah, it happens, but then I catch the drivers ahead, and I just stay in their slip. I had a great battle with Archie, I think, yeah.
Yes.
And then at last I got in front of him, and then I just took off.
Definitely. Well, congratulations on the 7th at 4 places. That is Frederick Johansson. I'll tell you what, Aaron, should we squeeze in quickly Garrett Spencer? As we're coming right to the end right now.
Well, Garrett, it wasn't quite the feature race end that you wanted after that big crash on the opening lap. Give us your feelings on that.
I mean, it's frustrating. You know, we were expecting a checkup at some point, especially starting in the midfield like that. And then some people, I guess, weren't quite as aware of it happening. But, you know, it happens. So hopefully it was at least entertaining.
Yeah, it definitely was something very, very curious that all the AMs on that opening lap just sort of decided to migrate towards each other. I think it was Tom who sort of started that, and I think you were kind of unfortunate to be picked up on it, but still you didn't give up. You still went out there, and I believe you finished last of everyone that was still running, so still some decent points after today though.
Yeah, I can't be upset with the points. It's a very close battle for the M class right now, so you gotta get every point you can. And honestly, I was just hoping that somebody else was gonna make a mistake and you know, make up a position or two, but it seemed pretty quiet after that point. But yeah, it happens, and like I said, happy to make it through to the finals and starting on pole for amateurs at least for the finals, but just gotta look forward to next week. And we kind of expected this week to be a little crazy anyways, so.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if you watched some of the other heats that you weren't involved in, and the consolation as well. It was absolute mayhem from start to finish. But going into Barcelona next week, it should hopefully be a safer race. And is it one of your stronger tracks compared to, say, Canada?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a little stronger on really technical tracks, less speed, because you know, some of these guys they can maximize these straightaways a little bit better than I can, whereas I'm, you know, maybe running a little bit of different of a setup or my style of driving. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good opportunity, and hopefully all of the entertainment happens at the beginning of the races, and by the final we have some high quality racing and everybody makes it to the finish line, hopefully.
Well, we can only hope, and good luck for next week. But before we let you go, is there anyone you give a shout out to? Garrett?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm running out of people to give shout outs to. So, you know, honestly, as usual, giving you guys a shout out for continuing to run a great show, and hope you guys have had fun.
We did indeed, and hopefully you'll have more fun next week, Garrett.
Oh, I still had fun. It's okay.
We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
That's Garrett Spence there, and well, that's time to close things out here from Canada. It's been drama-filled. It's been, wow, more twists and turns to the plot line yet again in the Apex Wrestling Academy Formula 4 Championship. But did we expect any less? I've been Tim Cox with Aaron Smith and Samuli Kumo. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week's time where we will be live from Barcelona. See you then.